Hello YouTube and welcome to another video. I just played a game 5 minutes ago, just finished it up, went down for a cup of tea and headed straight back up because I felt like there was something going on here that I really had to get out there. And what that is basically an really fun endgame. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's just check that out. So, after the opening, he played d4, I played e6, he played c4, I played knight f6. Nothing unusual here until about here, where he just castled. I was anticipating either bishop here or queen here, but just allowing me to capture that knight and win a pawn, I feel like that is unnecessary for white in this position. And bear in mind that this was a 10-minute without any incremented game, so we had plenty of time at this point. No worries, no rushing. So I took the knight and he captured back, and I took with the bishop. So far I have the bishop pair, but I was immediately drawn to the fact that this bishop needs to get out as quick as possible. So after he moved his rook, obviously because I was threatening it, I took here. And after he took with his knight, I was thinking that if I take here, not only can I, if he takes with a pawn, probably push here at some point and get my bishop out pretty easily, but also if it takes with a queen, I feel like that should be somewhat good for me, because then he has this pawn on d4, right? So that was my intention of bishop captures knight, but yeah. For now, he took with the knight, I took back with the bishop, and he wasn't in for the trade of queens, and I understand that. So here I have a couple of options. I could bring my bishop to d7, aiming at c6. I could play b6. Note that if I play my bishop here right now, the rook can capture on b7. Or I could just go here. Or any other move, let's say queen to a5. Or queen to f6, bring my rook into the game as well. But I went for knight to c6. It felt obvious to me. I had to get my pieces out. Notice that these bishops are more developed and are ready to just crush down my position. I really wanted to try to get my pieces out as quickly as possible because of these monstrous bishops. And they might have become just much better if my opponent had played it right. So after b6, he played his bishop to f3, which I think is a common idea. You want to support the pawn push eventually, if that ever needs to be done, because he notices that this push for me doesn't work right now. So I want to bring my bishop here. That means that after these moves, bishop f3 and bishop to b7, not only was he pinning my knight, but after I react by unpinning my knight, I go inside of another pin. And yes, that's also with the knight. Because now he's not threatening the rook, but he's threatening the bishop, because the bishop now is guarded or unprotected. So he played rook to c1, just attacking that twice, and I played rook to c8. Here I was considering queen to d7, simply put because there I also guard b7, and after rook to c8 and queen to a4, I think I would have met some trouble. I think that I would have been in some trouble there. I would have at least lost this pawn if he took here, And then there would be opposite colored bishops, and I think that would favor him. He has the outside pawn here on the A file in that case. Although I always have this move to attack that, if you're following me. So here's the idea. Queen here, let's say queen to d7. I have to guard this. He takes, I take back. Queen captures here. Okay, I'm stupid. So queen captures here was illegal, in fact, because my queen would then guard it. I thought that was okay. So I had it under control even without knowing I had it under control. Okay. But I played rook to c8 basically because I needed as many pieces as possible into the game. But I was unaware that queen a4 did not work. Right after I played this move, I thought to myself, shit, queen a4. But okay, it worked out. So he played queen to d2 at least, trying to probably or possibly play bishop to g5. But I really wanted this move in anyway, so no worries. I'm not sure what this move really does other than connect the rooks and possibly maybe bringing the bishop to g5. And here he played d5. Now this starts to become tactical. He has two bishops, especially the light squared bishop, and the queen is really annoying. The pawn on d5, I could take it, but I didn't feel like it. I felt like after it takes, I can show you, takes, and let's say knight to e5, takes, but he has a decent position. A bishop versus a knight. There's 2 versus 1 on the queen side. But after the queens have been traded off, this bishop is a big advantage because there are pawns on both sides of the board for both players. And this knight can only go to one side at a time, which this bishop can move all the way to every side immediately. And that was a bit of an issue. So I played knight e5 immediately instead, trying to trade off this bishop. I wanted, simply put, to capture one of his bishops. That's all I wanted. So here, if he takes, obviously, then I take here with check first, and he takes back. Then I can take here. Bishop takes here. Check, king takes. And if he goes inside of this, I feel like I should just be better. Even though there are opposite colored bishops, we have a rook each, and as long as I keep them on board, I should be okay. And possibly, I'm not saying that I will win this, but possibly it's better for me. And he went bishop e4, and I played knight to c4. And here I oversaw something here. I did not see queen here, which is kind of ridiculous, right? He has to move his queen, so where else would he put it than on d3 or on c2? Probably I was hoping for this move, but I really didn't take this queen d3 move into consideration before playing this knight to c4. So the idea behind this move, queen to d3, is that he can take here, and he's threatening my knight at the same time. So now I will possibly lose another pawn, or a pawn, so the material would then be even, and I don't want that. I really don't want that. I'm a pawn up, and when I am a pawn up, I would really like to stay that way as long as I can. So I played f5, which the computer said was very wrong. Well, an inaccuracy at least. It's not very wrong, but I kind of give away my initiative. The correct move would actually be to capture the bishop. Believe it or not. Just simply capture here, and after bishop takes on h7, king h8, and he can't take with the queen, so pawn takes. If he takes with the queen there, let me show you that. So check, king h8. If he takes with the queen, his bishop is hanging, so he can't do that. So he has to take with the pawn. But here, I was thinking, how do I proceed? How do I proceed? I get this pawn, so how do I continue? If he manages to bring a rook over to h4 or h5, and this other rook as well, or just trading this off, I might be in serious danger. And at this point, I think I had something about 5 or 6 minutes left. I felt like this could possibly become a really tough endgame. So I decided to play f5 at least. And I didn't calculate all the way through, but I saw that if I allow this check, that's the only thing that I considered. If I allow that check and a rook arrives somewhere along the h-file, then things might get really nasty. So I played f5. He took on e6, and a big mistake by me. I took the queen. No, not here. This is good. This is fine. The reason why I said big mistake is because, well, you'll see. Takes. I had to trade because my knight was hanging, and now I'm taking on e3. And my opponent played a really cool move after these moves. I needed my bishop also to attack on e6. Simply put, because if he takes here, I can take here with a bishop, and I still manages to be a pawn up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1. In that case, the pawn is on e3. 2, 3, 4. So 5 versus 4. And notice that our bishops are now on the same color, and that also has a huge impact on the endgame that we're about to see, or that has already started. And here I did not spend much time. I thought, well, if I take this rook, he takes my rook, and I win a pawn, right? Well, sadly no. Sadly no. After this move, there's only one move that saves me, and that is rook to e8. Rook e8. And now he can take here, I take here, he can take, and now I need to make some space, so probably g6. Well, sorry, here first. Takes, and takes here. Okay, so it's a 4 versus 3, but there's a rook endgame. I'm sorry, rook captures f5 immediately doesn't work. I'm just a lazy person. So yeah, and why this is losing is because I took the rook. And, well, I'm going to give you not so many seconds to figure this one out, but let's say 10 seconds. Pause the video and figure out what is White's winning move. Alright. So, I hope you found it. Bishop c4 check. What do I do after that? And I immediately saw it right after I played knight captures f1. And after the game, I actually told my opponent that. He didn't answer, he just left the chat room, or the game room. But I think he was quite pissed as well that he missed this win. And I was quite pissed because I played this move. But yeah, he took. But if he played this, I have several options here. I can play rook to f7, which means pawn e8, rook or queen, which is mate. I can play king to h8, which means pawn captures f8 equals queen or rook mate. Or I can block with my bishop on e6 first and then meet the same fate. There's really no other choices here. And that's why taking here is a big mistake after this move, e7. Just bring your rook over to e8. Crucial factor. But my opponent did not actually see that. He was so eager to play on and thought that he had to take. He didn't even consider other moves, in between moves, and that's something you should really do. And I didn't now. I should have. But always consider in between moves like checks and captures. Especially checks. Because they can be so nasty. So nasty. But yeah. He took, I took back, he took. Now bishop e6, trying to get at this pawn. And of course he played a3. And here I had a choice. Do I want to go for these king moves immediately, or do I have to do something about my pawn structure here on the king side first? And I think I did a correct assessment by playing h6 before doing anything else. Because if I play this move immediately, I do believe he has g4. And g4 is a horrible move to meet in this position. If I take, he can take on h7, and this pawn is on the light square, so this bishop can easily target that one, or like this. And I can't really push it because both of these pawns are on dark square right in front of it. So yes, he gives away a pawn immediately at g4, but he will win it back, and then it's really hard to see where this is going. Yes, I have 2 versus 1 on the queen side, but he has potentially 2 versus 1 on the king side here. I didn't have time to figure this sort of thing out, so I did the most practical thing, played h6. Let me see. Yeah, h6. And I feel like that was just a practical good decision. f4. He wants his pawns on the dark squares so that my bishop obviously can't attack it. And if you see this formation, I too have that idea. But since my pawn is already on f5, I might have a target for him here. But as of now, his king can't really infiltrate, because my king will get here first, right? So I played my king up, and he was so worried about his pawn structure and pawns being on dark squares that I actually got my king quite easily inside of his camp. After these moves, pawn to b4. He could also try to push, but then I will push myself, and this pawn on a4 will become a really big weakness, and I will just grab that on the spot. So definitely best to take for him. And here he played bishop to a6, and I do believe that after that move I shouldn't have gone for what I did. I think from his point of view, I think he should have gone king to d4, just simply trying to penetrate on the king side here, going after this pawn, let's say. He can always sacrifice the bishop for this pawn if he manages to get at this pawn first. But alright. Yeah, I'm sorry guys about the audio quality and the video quality. I'm having some technical difficulties again, and well, that's not the case for the audio, that's just for the video. But the audio is a bit better than usually. Simply put, because I forgot my microphone at a friend's house 3 hours drive away. And I'm not planning on going there anytime soon, so I'm just using the built-in microphone on the webcam that I have. Alright, so he played bishop a6 at least, and now I should have gone with this obvious plan, king to c3. Now he has a choice of backing down or to the side, or move his bishop again. somewhere, and then I can push. And since he put his bishop here, it can't really move. So I should have gone with king to c3. Terrible decision by me, but at this point I had 2 minutes and let's say 20 or 30 seconds max left, and I still felt like this was pretty tough to play. Of course I can bullet this out, but I wanted this to be as good as I could. Obviously it wasn't that good, but I played at least king here. But after king to c3, let's say king here, then I can even push him even further back. King here, bishop to d5 even. Now, of course he has bishop to c8, but then I can either play bishop to e4 or play a5. But I think the more safer route is bishop to e4. Just guarding this. So after this move, I can play this. Now there's not much choice. He can't really take. His king is blocked inside here. He can't get out. So then my pawn will just run all the way up the board, and queen. So bishop back, let's say to c8, and then I can push again. So that would have been fun, but instead, after this move, I play king to a5. And he brought his bishop back, and again, I'm sorry, and again, I should have gone back. That is better. And he would probably repeat, but then I could have done the same thing, king to c3. But nah, I said king to b6. I didn't like bishop to a6, but in fact, white is dead lost after that move. Now I'm actually giving him counterplay, at least some, if I'm not careful. So here, king over to e5, king to d7, and he takes my pawn. So now there's 3 pawns on the queen side. I have 1 pawn on the king side, and I have 1 pawn on the queen side and 2 here on the king side. So there's 3 versus 2 and 1 versus no one. This I saw pretty much straight ahead was winning. So I took and he took back. So I don't understand why he took here on f5, but I assume he thought he had a win, and he calculated, he used or spent some time here at least to see if he could catch that pawn back, and obviously he can. Do you know about the square? So count each of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as he is inside of this box right here, he will manage to catch the pawn. So he could go here or here, doesn't matter, and he would be catching up to that pawn. What I don't think he had planned though was that my king can just come all the way around these pawns and gobble them up. So that was a mistake by our opponent, I think, capturing on f5, although I'm not sure how to proceed as white here anyways in this position. But he took, and this got to be the position. Of course here he can check, but I bring my king over to f6, and there's really not much else. Then his pawns will only get looser, and he has to play something like g4. Simply put, it's not looking any better for him in that case. So he played g4, he wants to play this, and now he stopped me from playing king to f5. So I simply pushed. He has to go after it, but I think king to d4 would have been more active for him, because now I can't get up here immediately, and if I step away he can play this. And yeah, as you can see, this might be really hard. So let's play this on. King to d6. pawn here, I go here, and he pushes f5. Now I don't really have e6 either. And now I would have to go all the way back to e7. And now maybe this is even lost for me if I don't push this pawn. So I would have to push this pawn, and then he would go after it, obviously. So now he takes, and then I can finally go here. But is it that simple though? Yes, it is. So this, he could have gone here, and this actually almost happened in the game, but I am just able to get through here. And what is interesting is that if he had played king to d4, and these moves had happened, and I, instead of, if I pushed there, and he went f6, what happened there? Well, I queen first with a check, so probably nothing. But I'm just curious. I don't have any other moves, really. But okay. If my king was here at least, and he got this move in, and I take, then he can push here immediately, and there's no way for this king to actually get there in time. Here takes, goes forward there. Well, it is. What am I talking about? Okay, my calculation was spot on. Alright, anyways, back to the game. He played his king to d3, so possibly both king to d4 and king to d3 is losing. King to d5. I thought at least that king to d4 is more active for him. He's not letting me inside here immediately. And here I play h5. I don't want to end up like if I take, he can take back here or here. And now he had much more time than I did. So right around here I had 1 minute and 50 seconds or something. And he can take both ways. But I think probably he can take here. Because now if I push, he has to come around, right? And at this point, I need to come in. Now, but then he has h6. And I thought about this just for, let's say, 5 seconds, and thought, this might end in a draw if I'm not doing anything drastic, and keep my pawns instead. So that's why I play h5. And he played f5, thinking that he had this trick against my king. And surely if I had pushed, he went here, push, go here, and let's say my king was on d5 now, and it was white's move. Again, f6, pawn takes, pawn here. King goes down, and it doesn't work. So we both miscalculated that. I thought when my king was on d5, this was game over. But I knew that bringing my king to e5, no matter what, would be draw. A win for me, I'm sorry. So he played g6, and I played king to e6. And yeah, now he just goes after this pawn. But now I have another passer, a second passer on the king side as well as this pawn. So it's kind of hopeless now. What he could have done, though, is after takes, he could have tried for this, if I was sloppy enough, to try to bring his king all the way back. Although I wouldn't go around my king at this point. Now I would just push, and there's no way for him to actually get there in time, right? But that could have been a better option. Anyways, after g6, I play my king down to e6, king to c3, and I start to push, and this is just the end of the game. There's no way of dealing with this. But I just found this pawn and king endgame really fun to play, because it's been such a long time since I've actually had a bit more time than a few seconds left on the clock to actually calculate. I had, let's say, almost 3 minutes from for most part of this endgame, 3.5 minutes, down to 1:3, I think. 1 minute and 3 seconds, I think I ended up on. Yeah, it was just crazy. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sorry about the length of this video as well, especially when I'm just rambling about and not having an analysis even ready for you guys. But I just felt like I needed to do this. Alright, have a good one. Bye.